Welcome back to another episode of the Nomads and Nimble Shadow Podcast, trading the high-stress life of first responders for a life of adventure on the road. This podcast is brought to you by Kendra, a retired police officer, and her husband Sean, a retired public safety officer. They have been on the road full-time in their Airstream since August 9th, 2025. Traveling with them is their service dog, Django Aloysius Delicious McJefferson, Ph.D. the Sixth. Let's get this thing started.
All right, welcome to episode 3 of Nomads and Nimble Shadow, trading the high-stress life of first responders for a life of adventure on the road. I'm Kendra. I'm a retired police officer, and this is my husband Sean, who is a retired public safety officer. And we've been on the road full-time in our Airstream since August 9th, 2025. Traveling with us is my service dog, Django. And so I wanted to start today's episode by asking about the name, Nomads and Nimble Shadow. That's something you came up with, and I would love for you to explain kind of the history behind that name.
Yeah, so when I was younger and we were dating or married by that time, we both have this wanderlust of this adventure, backpacking and being out. And I used to write stories and, recount what we did or, kind of our adventures without putting our names down on paper. So I was the nomad and you were the nimble shadow because you were always sort of very limber and jumping across from rock to rock and crossing rivers, and you were always right there by my side. So I just wrote down Nomad and Nimble Shadow, and it kind of stuck, and that's kind of been our nicknames for a long time. And now we have another Nimble Shadow, so maybe you can explain that.
Well, we're not as nimble as we once were, and now we have Django, who is really my Nimble Shadow. 2 nomads and 1 loyal Nimble Shadow. He's my service dog, and he follows me to the ends of the earth and pines for me. And he's pathetic, but he's adorable and wonderful, and he's been a great travel companion. And so speaking of Django, both of us left our careers fairly intact physically, but we both came away with PTSD diagnoses. And so I'm wondering if you think that diagnosis has anything to do with the decision to live this way.
I do, for a couple different reasons. One is our job has a lot to do with control. Am I in control of the situation? Am I in control of the moment? Am I in control of my life? And you just sort of have to put that down there as like, I'm in control of my Monday. And now that I'm retired, I always made it a goal I don't want to be as in control. I want things a little bit looser and a little bit, stress-free and not such a timetable and not such a controlled environment where I can kind of sit back and watch things happen without having to control everything. And also getting away from all the ghosts of our job. A lot of it has to do with getting flashbacks and memories just by going through an intersection or seeing a specific kind of car or a kid in a car seat or anything could trigger just a memory, and you can't always control them, and you can always just sort of experience them and then they pass, good or bad. But now that we're in a new environment every day, we're not driving by those intersections, we're not talking to those people, we're not hearing that radio traffic anymore. It's a completely new environment, and I think it's completely therapeutic to be in a less chaotic state.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think I see it a little bit differently in that my personality was driven toward the job of first responder. That fits my personality really well. And what is it about that? It's about something different every day, not predictable, learning new things, meeting different people, seeing different lifestyles, and all of that kind of translates to travel. So I think it's just my personality is kind of driven to see what's around the next corner and to do something new. And so I don't know, I think that I'm not running away from anything or trying to like change things in my mind or avoid triggers necessarily. I just think it suits my personality. I feel a sense of comfort in a little bit of chaos and a little bit of unpredictability.
Okay. I would agree with you on that. But don't you think that with your job, being the first responder, and you said every day is different, those days came with the jack-in-the-box. Anything could happen at any time.
Yeah.
For any reason.
Right.
You're just basically waiting for someone to jump out of the closet, metaphorically. But in this way...
Or literally. Right? How many houses have you cleared where you're like, okay, somebody's in that closet.
Somebody's in there.
Is that a pile of clothes?
Yeah. So we are just following that same sort of like, you know, I wonder what's going to happen today, but it's not going to be, for the most part, hopefully,
yeah.
with a jack-in-the-box.
Right.
And if there is a jack-in-the-box, it's a beautiful sunset or a mountain range I've never seen or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, that those jack-in-the-boxes, as you describe them, are the things that made the job really fun and also are the things that made the job really destructive to your psyche, to your physical being, to your relationships, to your parenting. Like those are the things that made us, you know, come away with that diagnosis, among other things. But I think those are the things that made the job fun, but also damaged us quite a bit. Yeah. Speaking of which, how do you think the job itself changed who you were as a person?
I don't know. Now we're getting kind of weird, deep stuff. But I used to be a pretty fun-loving, open, life of the party, vivacious.
Ooh, vivacious.
Yeah,
Ooh, playful. I think of vivacious as like Jessica Rabbit.
Oh. I think you're thinking voluptuous.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was bodacious and vivacious back in the day, but I think I became a little bit like, if you were to look at my face when I was in my 20s, I probably had like a smile all the time or a light smile. And then when you look at my face in my 30s and now, I've got a kind of a frown and a squinted kind of glare. I don't have a resting... I'm not unhappy or depressed, but like a resting frown face. I have a resting frown face. And I wouldn't really know that unless someone were or see myself in pictures or something. But yeah, I think it was a little bit a lighter... Happier-go-lucky. You know, I wanted to make everybody laugh. And then I got pretty quiet and I stopped hanging out with so many people. I didn't like to be around people. I don't like crowds anymore. I don't know. You know. I've changed.
Started to hate people.
No, I mean, gosh. We don't hate people, but
I mean, pretty much.
I would choose to not be around people. So,
Yeah.
Would you want to go to the mall? No, I don't. You want to go to a concert? No. You know, you just
how about a baseball game?
No, for two reasons. I'm going to lose a lot of listeners right off the bat. One,
we're going to lose our one listener.
It might be the most boring game I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god.
Unless I watch highlights on TV.
Yeah.
And I don't like $17 beers. I like $6 beers and $5 hot dogs. And
yeah. What about rugby?
Love rugby.
Yeah.
Rugby all day long. Now that is, oh dang it, I'm going to lose so many listeners. Now that's a sport. Rugby, that is, wow. These guys are studs. And women.
Yeah.
Women are absolutely crazy studs.
Shout out to Ella out there.
Ella.
Go Ella.
But we have been big fans of the New Zealand All Blacks forever. I've had an All Blacks jersey for a long time.
I mean, let's be fair. Big fans. Like, I think a big fan, like, follows them and watches them.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm a big admirer of rugby.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't, know when they play.
I don't really even know the rules.
I just know that they keep going.
I know awesome. They look good in those shorts, and they just run back and forth.
All right, and it's just awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And then you close your eyes and open them again. You watch a baseball game or a football game.
Drew a little broken. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, everybody else in the world that loves sports. Sorry. We can talk about this in another podcast. You guys can yell at me and I'll respond. But sorry, I don't get it.
So I agree with you that I'm a different person than I was when I started. But I started at 19. And I started right out of the military. So it was 17, joined the military, and then started at the police department at 19. So I feel like I don't know that I really know who I was or what my personality was like before that job, because it was all my formative years.
But tell us, you were a dispatcher first, so maybe that got your feet wet in the world of
hating people? Oh.
I mean, yeah, no, I want to hear about your call-taking experience and how it was talking to the citizens.
I would argue that...
Well, talk about your timeline. Call taker?
Yeah, I started in 1992 as a call taker. Became a dispatcher. At that time, it was you started as a call taker and then promoted to radio dispatcher.
Call takers are the ones that take 911 calls.
Right. They take the 911 calls and the non-emergency calls, depending on what you're assigned that day. So it's... you might go from one call where it's a 4-year-old that is, playing with the phone or asking a math question, super cute, and then you hang up that phone and then immediately a new call is delivered in your ear and you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a blood-curdling scream or someone swearing at you, and your communication, so much of communication is body language and facial expression, so you don't have any of that. You only have your voice, and so... I would argue that was the hardest job I did until later when I did child exploitation crimes. But call taking was the hardest job because, like, radio dispatching, you have to multitask a lot and it's really challenging. And I loved the busy nights on Channel 5, and there would be 100 units on the channel, and you'd have a written list of people waiting to run a name because we didn't have anybody else to do it. I mean, it was crazy, but fun. And even in the scenes that were chaotic or officer-involved shootings, officers are trained on what they're supposed to say. And while they may get excited or emotional, for the most part, they do it the way they're supposed to. They say the words that they need to say. They give you the information the way you need to get it, for the most part. Callers are not trained, and so you don't know what you're going to get, and all you have is your voice to try to, get that hook in them and keep them on the phone and get them to answer questions. So it was extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And there's no closure. You never know what the scene looked like, smelled like, sounded like. You hang up the phone, you move on to the next call, and you never know what happened on that call.
Can't you just pull up that information in front of you with a computer if you have enough time to be like, what happened with that call?
You could see the disposition or maybe some miscellaneous notes, but I mean, there's a lot of detail that the officers on the scene are not putting in their notes on that call. So sometimes you would ask the officer if you were really curious, like, hey, I'd love to hear about that call or whatever. But so anyway, I did that. And then after a while, I kind of started feeling a little bit confined and restricted in that environment. And there's just not a lot of opportunities for growth in that environment. I'm trying
we got a chihuahua fight going on.
It sounds like 6 chihuahuas in
KOA. Shout out. This episode brought to you by the KOA in Salt Lake City. Right between the Walmart and a car wash. So weird.
So true. There was literally an arrest happening in the parking lot when we got here.
Yes.
Some drug arrest. Yes. And then we went a mile down the street to get pedicures today, and as we pulled into that parking lot, another arrest was happening.
Arrest, 2 prostitutes watching the arrest.
Yeah.
Wow, Salt Lake City. Don't go changing on me.
Feels like home, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, that's okay. So I don't know. I would like to think that I'm the same person, but I do remember very distinctly being at a grocery store one time with my mom. I was visiting home. I grew up in another state in Reno, Nevada, and I was visiting my mom. We went to the store and there was a parolee, right? Some, Nuestra Familia guy, tattoos all over his face and neck, and every inch of him is gang tattoos, and he's got the creased jeans, and he's got the,
How tall were his socks?
Right? The higher the socks, the lower the fool, the downer the fool.
No.
I know.
Yes, the downer the fool. I apologize.
I don't know these things. Anyway, so I remember saying something to my mom, just pointing him out that, look at that parolee over there. And my mom was kind of made a comment, she thought I was being judgmental. And I was like, no, I'm just not naive anymore. And I remember that being a really distinctive moment. Like, oh, I must have changed, or I just became aware of the change in who I was. But I don't know. I was always kind of a justice seeker, even as a kid. So I don't know that my personality changed all that much. Who knows? But
I thought of one more. Hold on, this dog fight is
yeah.
out of control.
You want to go put some bets on who's going to win?
Jesus. I remember my first wife telling me that she knows to change for sure. You know, you don't. It's like a frog boiling, right? You don't notice what's happening. There were two stories that she told me, but I'll share this one. She remembers after being out of the academy and being on the police department for a while, every time we'd pull up next to a car, I would stare at all the drivers of the car and all the passengers to try to figure out, are they a threat to me? Are they, is it a 1051? Are they going to try to jump into my car? What does the guy look like in case he does something? Like, I'd always just size everybody up all the time. She's like, stop staring at everybody when you come to the stoplight. Like, stop doing that. And then another time we were getting fingerprinted for maybe passports or something. And I've never been the guy that picks fights, or like, I'm always just the class clown guy. But a guy came in to get fingerprinted, and he went in front of us in line and started bad-mouthing the fingerprint examiner, and then like kind of pushing her around. And I became the cop, and my voice changed, and I stood in front of him, and I said, maybe you didn't, whatever it was that I said.
Yeah, maybe you need to leave.
All of a sudden became a cop, and I remember my first wife being like, wow, like, you've never done anything like that before, ever.
Yeah.
Now you're just always a cop. Like, you're supposed to be off, but you're a cop again.
Right. Was she upset about it?
No, she just was like looking at me like she'd never seen me before like that, because she'd known me since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it changes you.
For sure.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're hoping to regain or reclaim on this journey or heal from?
Yeah, the fun-loving, seeking, energetic, happy-go-lucky me. Yeah, I'm in there somewhere, right? I mean...
Yeah. Are you seeing it a little bit already?
I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I feel a lot better. I think so.
Yeah. I'm noticing it for
Good.
you. Yeah.
Good.
I'm noticing a lot more smiling. I'm noticing a lot more, like, positive comments.
Well, I am drinking a lot more.
No, you're
No,
not.
I'm not.
No, you're not.
Thanks.
And I notice, so, like, they talk about the face, right? When the cop husband or father walks in the door, or mother walks in the door, what does their face look like? And that kind of dictates how the night's going to go, or what their day was like at work. And I think our families learn to read it. And so even though I'm also first responder, I'm sure I have that face, but I am the wife of a first responder. So I have learned to look for that too. And what I notice is I listen for it in the morning. Like, I can tell by the tone of your voice in the morning when we wake up what kind of day it's going to be.
Huh.
And there have been a lot more, like, you wake up sounding happy and greeting the dog, and it's real sweet and loving. And I'm like, oh, it's like this sigh of relief that I don't even realize until I'm talking about it. But it's this sigh of relief, like, okay, it's going to be a good day.
Good. Yeah, hopefully there's lots of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that this is going to be a specific time period, or indefinitely? What do you see?
I like this so much that I see myself doing it until we just can't anymore. And when I say can't, I mean either physically or because we are anchored for some reason to one of our parents or the kids. And then, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put an expiration date on it, but let's say 10 years from now, we might just decide that we've seen all we want to see, and we just want to sit next to a fire in a log cabin in Colorado, please.
Right now it's Colorado.
Then we would both do that. It's like kind of like Forrest Gump. We're just going to run until...
Yeah. Until you feel like stopping running.
I feel like stop running.
Yeah. Good. I feel the same way. I feel like, you know how, I mean, some people really want a house, a forever home. It's their comfort. It's their space or whatever. I almost feel like this allows me more to be able to offer myself to my kids and parents more, if that makes sense, because I don't have to get home. Like, I can bring the home with me and visit for a couple of weeks, or I can,
Sorry, kids.
stay for a month.
A couple weeks.
those grandbabies until we get tired of those grandbabies, and then we need a break. No, but I mean, right? Like we now have the ability to just go.
Yeah.
And stay and just be, and not always be on this timeline of like, I gotta get back because A, B, and C is happening, or I gotta catch a flight. It's nice. So who knows how long that will last? And if all 3 kids end up at different places, we don't want to pick a house near one, right?
Well,
like
we do have a favorite, don't we?
Oh, of course, we have a favorite.
Hopefully they don't live too far away from each other.
Yeah, I know. Can you guys like move together? That'd be great. We don't really have a favorite. It changes all the time. They're all a favorite. Last question before I want you to tell a funny story about your grocery shopping experience. How has it been being together in such a small space 24/7 for the last 3+ weeks?
Well,
I'm drinking a lot more.
I'm drinking a lot more. I couldn't anticipate what it would be like. I was just going to see how it worked out. And I think you wouldn't get married to someone unless you got along, like if you could work this kind of stuff out. When you vacation with somebody, or when you need someone to share the load of whatever it is you're doing that day, you need to have somebody that you can do it with. And that's usually somebody you marry. So we've already been through that, and we knew we would be able to work together well. But would we bounce off of each other? There have been times for sure when there's a little bit of electricity and static and we want to, get some space. But I also think that we're finding ways to get space too. Like, she'll do the laundry and I'll go get dinner or go for a walk. I usually walk the dog. So, you have to plan spaces in there. But at the same time, I look forward to seeing her, I don't know, like in the adventure of it. So like, I know she's setting up the inside, I'm setting up the outside. If there's something that needs to be done, we go to the store and get it. She's a great partner and team member, and then also somebody that we have a lot of fun with, and it's like a big long date with work. It's like a date with work.
A date.
A fun adventure, but you have to do some chores along the way.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's gone pretty well. But it is. I do miss my friends.
Oh yeah.
I miss my friends a lot. I
miss your friends too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I stopped making that noise.
Sorry.
We don't have a studio, Sean. We're just in the Airstream. I walked with my friends a couple times a week, like several of them, right? So I now call them on the phone, but I'm just missing that connection with
You
my
haven't
friends.
done that with Tina, so you should wake up in the morning.
I know. She was supposed to call me to Tina. Shout out to Tina. Didn't call me today. Was supposed to call me today so we could go on a walk. Didn't do it. Oh well. She's busy too. She's getting her house all situated. So before we sign off, funny story. One of the best things about having a service dog is they are absolutely like your best buddy, and they want to be with you all the time. And I mean, he loves me the most, right? I'm his favorite. And the downside is when he has bubble guts and has to have diarrhea every 2 hours at night, I get to be the one to get up with him. So last night, every 2 hours like clockwork, I'd hear him whining softly. He's so polite. He doesn't want to ever like be obnoxious, but he's whining softly. So I got up and took him out every 2 hours. And you were sleeping like a baby. Mm-hmm. So this morning you had to go to the grocery store. I sent you for 3 items: rice, canned pumpkin, and canned chicken. And what happened?
Well, and then you added some stuff. So when I first walked in there with the idea of getting 3 things, I didn't get a basket. I'm in my pajamas, by the way. Birkenstocks, pajamas, t-shirt. No cart, no basket. I go in to get 3 items, in and out. I get a bag of rice. I get a giant cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Kendra says, if you get as many cans of chicken as you can. Okay, great. Well, now I can't find the pumpkin or the chicken that's in a can. Because who puts chicken in a can? I don't know, whatever. So I go up and down. I'm super overwhelmed. There's 1,000 cans everywhere. I'm looking, where's Waldo? Where's the pumpkin? And then, as a bonus, maybe I'll slip my eyes across the canned chicken. Can't find it. I went up and down and back and forth, and I'm doing laps. And finally I was like, excuse me, I find somebody that's doing the produce. And I said, I can't find something. Can you? So I walk over and I said, I can't find the pumpkin or the canned chicken. She looks to my left and she puts her hand on the pumpkin that's right next to me. She says, right here. And then she walks right across from me and puts my hand on my right hand, my right hand, and says, there's the canned chicken. I was literally standing right next to both things. Then she wants more chicken. So now I'm trying to get to the front of the store with 54 items, like a juggling with no cart. That's the story.
So it isn't just me that thinks you can't find anything.
Yeah, I can find stuff in the plain, like the Great Plains of Africa. I could find.
That's true.
lion.
You notice things in the wild that I don't notice. Right? So, but I'll find the ketchup. I know where it is right now in my mind. All right. That's it for episode 3.
This episode brought to you by Chihuahuas.
This episode brought to you by the KOA Chihuahua Gang. Until next time.
Until the next date, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.